Begin with a box cutter and a stack of paper. There's Tater's feet. And a pen and some tape. I like to use a stack of paper, just to make it easier. And then I trace my special triangle. This is made easier by it being laminated. That's what makes it a special triangle. There will be separate instructions on how to make the special triangle, although you can also trace it from this tablet that I'm making here. Then I start to draw out the glyphs that describe some of what's going to happen. This is the fourfold symmetry glyph. It says that we're on a fourfold symmetry with 90 degrees, but then I divide it by 2 to make it 45 degrees, or eightfold symmetry. And that's actually the lattice that we're going to be working on. So now I do a plus to get it up to root 2, and then I define that's going to be a 3-inch side there. That's kind of just telling you about my special triangle. So 45 degrees isosceles triangle, and that's the square root of 2 times 3 inches. But I just call 3 inches my unit. And then now I'm describing, using glyphs, what this thing is, this triangle that I just drew. So rotate, or draw a line segment, rotate, draw another line segment after you've shrunken it by root 2, move out by root 2, rotate, rotate to get 90 degrees, draw another line segment, rotate, back, and go back. And now we're back where we started, and I put all that together, well, back where we started plus a rotation and a shrinking, and I call that whole thing together this new glyph, which is kind of draw a triangle and rotate as you go, which I now start adding there. Now I just keep doing this same operation, using my special triangle to get 90 degrees and 45 degrees as needed, so that each one is square root of 2 smaller than the previous one, and it's rotated, and I draw the glyph to indicate what I did, and then I do it again. Now I've done it twice, I'm doing it a third time. Each time I do it, I get 1/8 of the way around the circle, another 45-degree rotation. I do it again, now I've got 3, go ahead and add the glyphs, so now there's 3 glyphs indicating that I've done this shape 3 times. And you can see how much time we're saving by having the glyph that describes a stack of glyphs there. So this is the power of recursion. Now we're halfway around. That's 4 units. So now we've shrunken by root 2 4 times. Do it again. Add the glyph. It gets easier on the second half because you can just line things up with your existing lines on the opposite side there. And I count it out to make sure I have the right number. Of course, I could add some sort of loop thingy here, but that's not really how I'm structuring the language. I'm trying to keep it, instead of loops, you just add another layer of recursion. And there it is. There's our spiral. So this is a log spiral based on the square root of 2, or 1 over the square root of 2, depending on which direction you're going. So I finish it out. There's 8 of these. I just note that there are 8. And then I start labeling things a little bit. So I go from square root of 2 to 1, to 1 over the square root of 2, to 1/2, to 1 over 2 square root of 2, to 1/4, and so on and so on and so on. In principle, to infinity, you could do this, but that's not what we're doing here. Because this is in the real world, where the size of your pen actually determines what you can and can't do. Then I'm going to put a copy of my special triangle down at the bottom here, just so that somebody else could trace this if they wanted to. They don't have to do compass and straight edge construction to duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate the whole thing there, and I start coloring it in. Continuing with coloring, I'm using blue and violet here because I like to use blue and violet to indicate either fourfold or eightfold symmetry. Nothing special about that. That's just how I tend to do this. If you do it with some other color scheme, that's great. There's nothing special about this. But that's how I'm doing it. And it is nice to have some sort of correlation between different symmetry choices and different artistic choices. And I'm indicating that the unit glyph is the 3 inches there, because 3 inches is my unit. And you can see that I'm doing pretty much everything in this video is 2 times speed. Wall clock time was about 30 minutes, but I've sped it up so that with editing, this thing can be a tolerable length. And I use the color red here to kind of denote my unit. I've got two sides that are of that unit. Now I'm coloring in my next square, which is scaled down by 1/√2. And the next one. And as I said, I kind of alternate just between these two colors. This could be a rainbow. Or you could also use French curves to add a smooth spiral to the outside. Make it more of like a nautilus shell look. And there it is. Now I'm going to color in some more glyphs. Try to give those glyphs a little color just to make them kind of pop out on the page. Everything looks better when you color it in. It's really a tragedy to learn plane geometry and not color things in. And there's just the thing so that you can copy that special triangle in the future. This tablet will also be a source for that. And I add a couple more glyphs to make the thing complete, color the glyphs in, and there it is. So now I'm tracing this piece of paper onto the cardboard so that I can cut it out to make the actual physical tablet. This is really thick cardboard. This is thicker cardboard than you need. This is double thickness corrugated cardboard from a moving box. I do think you want corrugated cardboard, and you want pretty decent corrugated cardboard, and double thickness is not a bad idea, but it's probably a little bit overkill. So I cut it all the way around with the box cutter, remove it, and then I put my piece of paper on here for the one side, and I use packing tape, clear packing tape, to laminate it and attach it permanently to the cardboard. That's what makes this a tablet instead of just a piece of paper. It seems a little silly, but it makes it way more robust to have a tablet than a piece of paper. Every piece of paper I have gets destroyed. The dog steps on it, it gets dirty, it gets ripped and folded. This can last. I can take this out in the weather if I have to. Now I'm going to make the other side. Now the other side is a link to this video and also to the tail video, which will tell the story of this particular item. This is how everything should be. Everything should have a reference to media that describes the thing, and that reference should be physical. So now I finish it out. I'm just making stubs here of YouTube links, and I'm labeling lore for a couple of links. I'm only going to fill in one, and tail for a couple more links. I'm probably only going to fill in one, but I'm just making these kind of stubs to these URLs so that this is really easy to deal with in the future. Then I laminate the whole thing. Both sides, right? So this is my chance to really tape all over the place, except the one place I don't want to tape is right where those URLs are, so I have room to fill in the actual data whence I get it, because I have to upload this to YouTube first and then do that. So now I'm punching holes in the corner with the box cutter. I'm doing it in 3 corners. You could do it in 4 or 2. That's so it can turn into a book, and also so you can hang it on the wall like art, or you can hang them in a stack. There's a lot of different ways you can use those, but it's designed to be integrated into a physical media of some sort. And we're done.